So for the almost 1 million of you that have watched our broadcasts, you will understand what we're about to cover. Because we've been warning about it for weeks. My beautiful wife there on your screen speaking of what we're about to cover. But that was just the tip of the iceberg because we talked about it here and here and here and continued to go down the list the number of times we have mentioned over and over again the same topic. And there was reasons, researched and referenced reasons why we covered the bone-chilling message that has now come out from Trump and his inner circle. If you don't know the details, don't worry, I'll get you up to speed quick because there's a lot developing right now. But this one, we've been reviewing, we've been analyzing, and we've been researching for weeks, and lo and behold, it happens. So whoever in Trump's orbit's listening, thank you, because it needed to. All right, I'm going to take a brief pause here because once I start this broadcast, I'm not going to stop. So before I do, make sure you subscribe to Lisa's channel. I know she asks you, and we'll ask every time because we want to make sure you're all aware that bell needs to be checked so you're alerted to upcoming broadcasts. If you haven't joined our other channel yet, she'll put a link just above. Need you to click on it so you know you can always find us. This restrictedrepublic.com news effort that we put forward every day. So much information for you. And now, very special thanks to those who helped to bring these broadcasts out for Lisa. A very special sponsor today.
Now, we have been told our entire lives that wrinkle creams are the way to look younger. But now one doctor says that that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. Well, recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? Well, so that he can focus directly on anti-aging revolutionary breakthroughs. Now, his clients have dubbed this do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years and even decades off of your appearance in 2 minutes' time. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public where he outlines exactly how to use simple solutions from home. Now, if you want to check it out, all you have to do is go to bhmd1.com/haven. That's bhmd1.com/haven to watch that video. And if you want more information, you can click in the description box below. There's a link down there. Or if you're on your cell phone, click that more button to get more information, but you're not going to want to miss it out as this product has been life-changing for me personally. All right, back to the broadcast.
Of course, I'm not going to start a broadcast. I'm not going to start Trump's term without giving a little bit of two middle fingers in the air to the man on your screen. Because now suddenly the mainstream media that has manipulated information and hid the truth from you for years is now suddenly turning 180 degrees the other way. No shock, we expected that. How Biden destroyed his legacy. The president's accomplishments are considerable. Well, I guess they can't completely stop lying. When Biden issued public warnings, this all boils down to one thing. It's the start and the finish. Because Biden tied everything he did to anti-Trump. I'll be opposite Trump. He did it so much that he affixed his legacy to the fact that he could stop Trump. I don't need to read any of the details. Everyone knows that. But you see, when Barack and Biden bookend Trump's legacy, they failed to prevent him in the beginning, and they failed to prevent him in the end. In many ways, their very administrations assured Trump's victory because of their failure. Just goes to speak to you that you could only fail for so long before America demands change. As Biden wraps up a half-century political career, his failure to turn the page on Trump weighs on President. Turn the page, how many times have we heard that? Well, you weren't able to now, were you? through continual lawsuits, through smear campaigns, through everything you threw at him, you couldn't stop him. One of the greatest tragedies of American politics, Biden all but unsowed the entire Democrat Party. They're not aligned. They're angry. And because of that, they're destroying each other, and they've destroyed their party. Don't worry. They'll reorganize. But what's Biden busy doing? Because he can't get to the beach because it's too cold out there? Well, he's wandering around the White House, messing up people's ages, and of course, making sure he finds his milkshakes and ice cream, and that's what he's ordering there. So he ends the way he begins. Confused and lost. It's been the way of the administration. We'd expect nothing else. Why would it change? It never changed. It was about initiatives and failing initiatives. Remember us covering the FBI agent who said it wasn't a terrorist attack? Well, now they've been reassigned. I guess qualifications do matter. But all of these initiatives are being unraveled, and they need to be because they haven't served for the betterment of America. But Biden hasn't. What's he doing in his ending days? Oh, he's just sitting there commuting sentences. 2,500 Americans convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. Well, you just go on home. Now, parts of this, our prison system is overwhelmed. We're too litigious. We throw everyone in prison at a rate that most countries don't do. So is there a problem with the system? Yeah, it's inherent. I'll call out if there's something I agree or disagree with, but it just goes to part of the illusion, doesn't it? The illusion that the man who stands for law and order, allegedly, except when it involves his son or those convicted. So it's one of the many anomalies that will never make sense of Joe Biden, but again, all the world's a stage. And Joe Biden, was he merely a player? Oh, I can't wait to see the comments on that one below, because you and I both know the answer. Just like this picture, his final speech looks, well, like a man who's leaving on a failure, but you see, the failure is the illusion behind the picture. Because a photographer caught this. Joe Biden propped up on a cushion, box of Kleenex, always next to him. Things they don't want you to see. But what will the Trump administration find is what else they didn't want you to see. Oh, trust me, it will be an endless supply of material. I'm sorry, Joe, what did you say?
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote.
Oh, we'll miss your cue cards with pictures now, Joe. We'll miss the fact that every time the teleprompter glitched, you stopped. Well, we watched, we observed, and we waited. We waited for Trump to take office again, and it is truly now time for your end of quote. So as you disappear over the horizon, and you won't be missed by us. Boy, you left us a lot of work to do now, didn't you? No, not only do we have to assure those special agents in charge are reassigned or fired altogether. It appears everything that you believed in, well, we're going to relook at now, aren't we? Some the courts are getting ahead of us on. DACA, did you hear about this? Appeals court again declares DACA illegal. Boy, that's no shocker now, is it? 538,000 under this program that a court just ruled is illegal, but it's just the beginning, isn't it? Because there's so many shrouds of illusion we have to pull back. There are so many shrouds of deception we have to pull back, but the victories are already starting. George Stephanopoulos, in this interview with Nancy Mace, he made a claim that Trump was found liable for rape, which he wasn't. And this opened the door for Trump to sue ABC and George Stephanopoulos, and the victories are now being felt. This ruling here, plaintiff President Donald Trump and defendants American Broadcasting Company and George Stephanopoulos, and what happened within this lawsuit? Well, they were to transfer to the Trump Presidential Foundation and Museum $15 million and pay for all of Trump's legal fees. Imagine that. People at will lying about the man, attempting to assassinate him. Not only him, but his character also. All the lawsuits, all the time, and you couldn't stop him. And they're never going to forget that, all leading up to the final story we're getting close to now. So they had to, as part of this litigation, publish an apology. ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Donald J. Trump made during an interview with George Stephanopoulos with Representative Nancy Mace on ABC this week on March 10, 2024. Doesn't go far enough, does it? Luckily, he overcame these continual onslaughts and attacks, but there appears to be now one potential attack he is most concerned about at this moment. The one we've been warning about for weeks. But that doesn't mean he's going to stop working now, is it? Oh no, Chicago mayor, you know how much I love Brandon, right? Oh, not at all. Being as facetious as I can be. The man who said he would stop Trump and Holman from coming in and trying to clean up his city. The man and city who are about to pass new laws to legalize prostitution, everything else you could possibly do to go against the citizens of that once great city. A city that I was raised just outside of it, a city I worked in, a city that I would love to feel safe going back to. So what does Holman and Trump decide to do? Well, they're going to make Chicago priority number one. Trump to begin large-scale deportations Tuesday. These folks are at work. 200 officers being sent to carry out the operation. Holman warned about this.
So the position of your man and your government is terrible. I started the speech with that. They're terrible. Come to the table. Come to the table. I welcome you to come to the table and help us protect your communities. But if you don't, get the hell out of the way. We welcome.
Well, we know that's not going to happen. It better, though. Because when Holman says something and Trump says something, they will carry it out. They, unlike the other illusions we have faced for years, have no pretense, have no need to lie. No, this is the last time Trump can run, so he has nothing to lose and everything for we the people to gain. Each appointee that comes out, every decision that's reached, and this one in particular, and I couldn't have been happier that Kristi Noem announced it. The CBP One app. Oh, here you go. Everyone come on in. We'll make it as easy as grabbing your cell phone. Well, the sands of time on that have now run out.
About CBP One, the phone app that I've called concierge service for illegal immigrants. I'm sure you're familiar with it. This was the Biden administration's effort to allow asylum seekers to apply ahead of time using their phones, but not actually to provide any evidence that they needed asylum. There was a newspaper report, a press report that said the only problem with the app is it never asks users, are you seeking asylum? They don't ask for any asylum evidence. They simply release these so-called asylum seekers who use the app into the country on parole. Sometimes they're never given a hearing. The Inspector General actually did a report, a full investigation report on CBP One, and found that frequently users of this app were claiming the same addresses in the United States as their intended destination, even though they didn't know each other, they weren't family connections. In other words, it has been completely abused. And the idea that the federal government would pay for this kind of concierge service for illegals, I think is outrageous. Will you end the use of the CBP One app?
Yes, Senator, if confirmed, and I have the opportunity to be secretary on day one, CBP One will be shut down. There's
Plain facts. That's all we've ever wanted. Plain, straight facts. Don't pacify me. I don't need it. I don't need you condescending to me. Trust me, I can comprehend very complex concepts, but that one is not complex. It's black and white. If you want to come to this country, you are more than welcome to. You have to do it through the proper process. It's that easy. There is no facilitation because without vetting, who are we allowing in? And it goes to this final story that we've been covering for week on top of week on top of week. Warnings that we caught so much flack over, at least I did. The fact that I was begging for Trump to move his inauguration inside. Now, for those of you that have been watching, you know the many reasons I brought up why, but at the very last minute, don't we find out exactly why I was right? You see, although you'll see these press conferences that we're ready to go, the police chief expects 4,000 officers from across the country to come and protect. Well, trust me, you give me no solace whatsoever as the D.C. police force. But then we come to find out something a little bit different, huh? Local police departments are refusing to help D.C. secure Trump's inauguration, not all, but some. But it's the security of the event that was of the paramount concern. And, Justice, come on, what are you talking about? Why are you worried? Every president does it outside. Trump will survive, but don't test the hands of fate. Not a big believer in that at all. All I cared about was him getting to that desk and grabbing that pen and starting to work. No pomp, no circumstance, and he still hasn't listened on something else I requested, was the celebration the day before. Still, to me, a horrible, horrible idea. I, as a voter, don't care about the celebration. I care about the results, and right now the only way you can provide results is to get into office. It takes months to vet out this security apparatus, the one that has worked against you time and time again. But I digress, and we'll go to what's changed. A bone-chilling message that came from Trump and his inner circle. And there's conflict within their statements. But not conflict in the fact they disagree. Conflict as to why this decision was reached. What warnings did I provide? I'll just give you a few. One, that the police force should be called into question. What actual security will be there on top of National Guard troops? How effective will they be? Lisa talked about it yesterday. I've talked about it. All these events, a mass amount of events occurring just before the inauguration, spreading resources a little thin, maybe tiring them out. Hard to keep your eye on the ball when you got so much going on right now. And on top of that, a breakdown of one of the most major security elements you can ever have. DJI, largest drone company in the world. Over a 90% market share, and I don't believe I'm inaccurate. I think I'm almost spot on. I think it's higher than that. Well, what they did is they have a function within every drone they sell to any commercial operator, to any Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants a drone. DJI will sell it to you. And to protect airports and critical infrastructure like the White House, it had what was called a geofence, which means if that operator, who either knows what they're doing or doesn't know what they're doing, were to fly the drone towards the White House, the geofence, an electronic fence, would go up and they couldn't physically move it that direction. But then suddenly, just a few days ago, DJI, the Chinese-held company, drops that geofence. Concern for airports? Absolutely. Suspect in its decision and timing with the inauguration of Donald J. Trump being held outside and some psychotic potentially getting their hands on a drone knowing there's no geofence. But don't worry, there'll be security there to take it down. Okay. They've done so well on the eastern seaboard, haven't they? And things like that could be overwhelmed very quickly. Another cause for concern. Local police enforcement, some deciding not to come to protect. A failure last time around. Drones now having no perimeter. All these factors were leading up to something stating we might want to change the event. But on the comment stream, it was amazing how many said, fear nothing. Well, that's a fool's errand. No, prepare until you believe there is a potential to be overwhelmed, of which time make a more rational decision, because your job is to take office safely. We all pray for Donald J. Trump, as you do. And no, this isn't fear, this is preparation, foresight, outthinking your opponent. Nothing more and nothing less. But then, to add insult to injury to those disagreed, out comes this clip, and up in the skies above Washington, D.C., what's happening?
An exclusive look at how security officials are prepared after months of planning. So, crane to your left. Got it.
From only 150 feet in the air, pilots dodge buildings.
And tower on your left side. Got it.
Flying in a grid over the National Mall to scan for radiological or nuclear irregularities, threats like dirty bombs.
So you're trying to create a blueprint of what the radiation in Washington, D.C. looks like ahead of the inauguration. Correct.
Department of Energy scientist Jacqueline Brandon calls this low-flying helicopter, one of just 2 of its kind, her office.
If we find a radiological irregularity, we'll investigate it even further.
Highly sensitive technology sets off alarms in the air.
That's an alarm.
That is an alarm.
Wow. We haven't covered that either, have we? Remember that CIA agent? Beware. They're here. And lo and behold, only 2 of these helicopters in existence, and they're flying above Washington, D.C., but they always do that. Oh, yeah, they've always done a lot, and they've done such a banner job at stopping all this stuff, haven't they? Why do those that didn't have faith in a system a few years ago suddenly now have faith in a system? Because everybody wants to be comfortable. They don't want tragedy. Nobody wants tragedy. Either do we, but that doesn't mean we don't sit here and warn and warn and warn time and time again. But it appears now somebody within Trump's inner circle, and whoever you were who listened in to those warnings, appear to have heeded those warnings, and they were given the perfect opportunity to do so. Now Trump has done a vast array of events, from the hottest environments to the coldest environments. But this time, due to a cold environment comparable to where he's done outside events before, they make a different choice, a wiser choice. January 20th cannot come fast enough. I'll go full screen so you can read with me. Everyone, even those that initially opposed the victory by President Donald J. Trump and the Trump administration, just want it to happen. Specifically what I said. I just want him to get to that desk and grab the pen and start working. It is my obligation to protect people of the country, but before we even begin, we have to think of the inauguration itself. The weather forecast for Washington, D.C., with the wind chill factor, could take temperatures into severe low records, and the Democrats will say, see, that's why he's moving it inside. Yeah, okay. There is an Arctic blast sweeping the country. I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters will be outside for many hours on the 20th. In any event, if you do decide to come, dress warmly. He went into great detail there. I like analyzing statements and how they're written. Let's make sure we're really focused on the Arctic blast here, okay? Okay, good, perfect, great. We'll do that. We'll just call in. We'll talk about the police canines and the horses and hundreds of thousands of supporters. We'll give a lot of evidence there. Sounds great, good. Therefore, I've ordered the inauguration address, in addition to the prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol Rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985, also because of very cold weather. It was a perfect opportunity to heed the warnings of so many of us that have been talking about this time and time again, but at the bottom, he's still moving forward with something I don't agree with. All the other events will remain the same, including the victory rally at Capital One Arena before the inauguration. Risk reward, right? What's the reward? So everyone can feel good? That's not the reward I'm looking for. My reward I'm looking for is the overturning of the multitude of Biden policies that need to be returned so we could be again this great republic of the United States of America. That's the only result I care about. I don't care about your pomp and circumstance. I don't care about your victory laps. I didn't vote you in to watch a televised victory lap. Sorry. Just stone cold hard facts, okay, folks? We all feel good about this. Sat around last night with a group of people. Everybody felt good about it. And we'll be watching, just like you'll be watching. But then this statement came out. And it goes to speak to exactly what we've been talking about here. I have attended countless rallies where President Trump spoke in extreme weather conditions, from cold to rain to heat. Is there a security threat other than extreme cold temperatures? Not only him, but for the people. Trump said he was worried about the safety of the people. His foremost concern, as it should be, because he's ultimately there to represent we the people. So when we work so diligently for weeks to provide these warnings, it is nice. It is a welcome change to have someone finally listen. Because all of us, all I'm sure you care about and we care about, is for the safety of Donald J. Trump so he can do the work we elected him to do. I want to see it in the comments below. What do you believe this decision was triggered by? Cold weather? Or a decision to assure the ultimate safety for the great Donald J. Trump, the man memorialized here in a statue larger than life? Many are rumoring this will be at the inauguration. Can't wait to see it. The man who survived an attack on his life. A man who has survived a multitude of lawsuits unlike anything experienced by any individual in the history of this great nation. A man who has survived smear campaigns. Now more rumors coming out of more efforts led by the government that we are researching currently to assure he can never run for president. Well, it all failed. And I don't want anything at the last minute reversing that change. So I ask all of you to join me in continually praying for the safety of this man. Because it was only by the hand of God that his life was spared. And I don't want him or anyone within his circle tempting that decision any further. Get to office, get to work, and I know he will. I know he will because I showed you the wheels are already in motion. I love you all. Can't thank you enough for being here. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless Justice Knight. Signing out.